When 6'8" is 6P isn't enough, the boys have you covered. Here's Jimmy Allen.
Happy Taste Test Tuesday, everybody. Welcome inside the After Hours Lounge. Jimmy Allen, Dan Campen, and Noah Houston with you here on a Taste Test Tuesday. How do you get involved in a Taste Test Tuesday? We'll tell you. All you got to do is head over to our Twitter page or our Facebook and tweet or repost the Taste Test Tuesday post from our friends at Pasta Amore. We're going to enter you into a drawing to win a $25 gift card to Pasta Amore tonight. We got a great show lined up for you tonight. What do we make of the Ted Carter situation? Is it more of a problem in administration than it is a Ted Carter issue? We'll tell you at 6:15. At 6:30, a ton of movement in the NFL. Is Dan Campen happy about what he and the Packers brass has done? No, he's not.
Sad.
Yeah. We'll also buy or sell at several different topics around the sporting world. Also, we open up the show to you. It is an open bar tonight, 7:15. Dan, I think the patrons of the After Hours Lounge have hit the bar a little bit early. I've been reading through some of the questions that we have to address tonight. They are a little unhinged and off the sports sphere, so we'll get into that at 7:15. And what is March going to look like for the Huskers and the Jays, respectively? Do we expect one team to be playing more basketball games than the other? We'll get to that at 7:30. 402-951-1620 is how you can get a hold of the show. Don't forget to follow us on X at After Hours 1620 as well. We do have a Coach of the Year in the Big Ten. Fred Hoiberg has been named the Coach of the Year, and I don't think that came to a ton of surprise to too many people, obviously, with the turnaround that Fred and the staff have had this season, and obviously specifically the first start of the season with the 20-0 streak, and the way they finished and closed out. And obviously they got some business to take care of in the Big Ten tournament and being the number 2 seed there. I think the only really other possible candidate that would have been thrown into discussion is if Michigan was able to go on and be the number 1 overall seed heading into the Big Ten tournament. Dusty May may have been up for that conversation. But I think the fact that Fred's been able to win as many games in this regular season than he has in his previous seasons combined at Nebraska is just a testimonial to how much he's been able to take this team, improve it to where they are. And, you know, there was a lot of high expectations when he was brought here. And obviously we've got the Bill Moose book of it all, where there was the conversation apparently being had about Fred Hoiberg versus Dana Altman. Obviously Dana currently playing in the Big Ten tournament. Oregon is trailing Maryland in the opening round. With about a minute to go, the Terps are up 13 points, so it looks like it's going to be the end of the road for Oregon and Dana Altman at the start of the Big Ten tournament. They obviously had to win this whole thing to even have a dream and a prayer to move on. But you know, there was a lot of discussion about what happens at the end of this NCAA run, and obviously that's not a conversation we've had around here a whole lot. And it's been a ton of fun to kind of open up those can of worms. But I think that the questions about does Fred walk away if they have this high level of success because of his health problems, I don't know if that was answered by the extension this week. I don't know if that guarantees you that I don't know if that guarantees you the longevity of him being around and staying with this program and not retiring. If they say, I don't know, go on a Final Four run now. I think Nebraska's got to get some stuff figured out defensively before we start having those conversations. It kind of felt like whenever Iowa started switching and running downhill at Nebraska's bigs, Nebraska kind of struggled a little bit. They got it together by the end of that game, but that kind of seems like the blueprint to beat this Fred Hoiberg-led Nebraska squad this season. Now, does that ramp up, and does Nebraska figure things out in March when it matters more? And with Berke and Rink out there together, does that look a little bit different? I mean, that's to be determined. But when Fred Hoiberg wins the Big Ten Coach of the Year, even if Nebraska does have a little bit of a taper off at the end of the season, I think even with the first half of work that Nebraska put in, it just kind of felt like there was a clear-cut decision who should be the Big Ten Coach of the Year this year, and it feels like they got it right.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. I tertiarily heard a bunch of our other, sister and brother radio stations and radio shows on this very channel today. Real quickly, just mentioning the fact that Fred Hoiberg did win Big Ten Coach of the Year. And I feel like if you're the Big Ten, you have to give it to him because of specifically because of the turnaround that you've been able to make within this program.
Yeah, but I mean, the one caveat to that is like, okay, there's another guy that has a team higher ranked in a better position to get a 1 seed in the same conference. Now, obviously, the job itself has to mean something, and Michigan's clearly had a lot more success in men's basketball, specifically more recently than Nebraska. And I like, if they were going to give it to Dusty May, I don't know if I would have been up in arms about it. I think Fred's done clearly the better job because of the school he's at with the resources he has compared to where Michigan has been a more of established program, obviously throughout college basketball and obviously more recently as well. Like, take the Fab Five discussion out of it. I'm talking about the latter part of the last decade that I think Dusty May is one of the best coaches in the country. But this season, it's kind of hard pressed to find anybody in the country that's done a better coaching job than Fred has.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one that everyone is kind of, put out there and is served up on the platter as well. It could have been Dusty May, which is fair because he's the number 1 team in the Big Ten.
Sure.
Probably
he's going to be a 1 seed.
I'm going to say going to probably be a 1 seed in March if, nothing super catastrophic happens.
Yeah, I don't think it matters what happens.
Really? Okay, well, I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, if Maryland, goes on and beats them in the championship game, that would be crazy. But yeah, probably going to get a 1 seed, probably one of the best teams in the country, definitely one of the most put together teams in the country. But
yeah, I think they're one of like 6 teams that has a legit shot at winning the national title.
And I think you really just, I mean,
by the way, Dan, Michigan's 29 too, so it doesn't matter what happens. So if Maryland goes on a run and beats them, it doesn't matter. They're a 1 seed.
Okay, fair enough.
No, but I think that's an interesting dynamic about this year's team, because there was a discussion for the longest time is like, what does Nebraska have to do to grab that 1 seed? And there's so many times this in the past couple of years, the number 1 overall seed had 4, 5, 6 losses. Duke, Arizona, Michigan all have just 2 losses this season. You can look at the lines after that, like the teams that are going to be competing for those 2 and 3 seeds. Florida, 6 losses. Houston, 5 losses. UConn, 4. And I think the Huskies have the best outside chance of grabbing that 4th number 1, by the way, because of the way that the tournaments, like if they find a way to avoid St. John's in the Big East Championship, I think it's and they win the tournament, obviously, I think they absolutely are the 4th number 1 overall, 4th number 1 seed. And with that being said, like, I think it's going to be a tall hill to climb because I think St. John's is going to win the Big East. And I don't think they'll come anywhere near sniffing a 1 line, but they're going to be a really interesting seeding. And I think they got a outside chance to be the highest number 4 seed.
Well, and I think, so it's going to sound weird to say, because
I'll say this though, nobody wants to see St. John's in the NCAA tournament.
I'm going to say, I know we're kind of diverting off the topic now, but love talking about Big East basketball whenever I can. I think it's better for UConn not to win the Big East tournament.
Oh,
because out of
more rest,
and I think just in general for Dan Hurley and for those guys, Dan Hurley's not a guy who likes to generally play from the top. He likes to have something kind of in the back end to make his guys work for, and to sort of, be the underdog, quote unquote. I say that with extremely heavy air quotes, studio cam, so you can see it, because the Huskies are never going to actually be underdogs.
No, add yourself too.
All right. But they're going to be one of those teams that is going to be a tough one to look out for.
Yeah,
come March.
And like there's 2 teams, and I know we're going to get into this later in the show, but this just kind of spearheaded my thought. There's going to be 2 teams I don't think anybody wants to see on their side in their quad of the bracket. I think St. John's is going to be a really, really tough out because the way they play defense, and wherever Gonzaga ends up, they're going to be the dark horse to win their region just because of the athleticism of that team. They kind of fell apart a little bit and were bitten by the injury bug to some degree down the stretch. But both of those 2 teams are going to be really, really, really tough outs when it comes to where, because they're both going to be somewhere around the 4-3, 4-5 range of what line they're on. And I think they absolutely have a chance to upset whatever that number 1 seed is. Now, I'm going to be really interested to see where Nebraska ends up, because there's the expectations now. Like everybody clearly wants Nebraska to win that first tournament game. And that's completely understandable because obviously we're the answer to a trivia question right now, right? So you want that to go away and go away forever. Which I totally understand. But it'll be really interesting to see what people's expectations are when it comes to Selection Sunday, because what are your thoughts on where Nebraska should end up now? And what are your expectations based on what you see what they actually have to go up against? Because it has the ability to swing both ways, right? You can feel really good about the draw they get, and you can go, well, if they're not at least playing on the second day of the second weekend, that's a problem. Or it could be oh man, how do we end up with that situation? Now we got to fight to get out of the first weekend. And I think who you draw and where you end up it determines a lot of that response.
And I think they're going to get a good seed, but it is going to be interesting.
They're a top 16 seed no matter what. So.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting thing to see where the chips do fall, because like we've said every single year, you can always predict the first maybe 10 games of the bracket.
Yeah.
You're probably good for 10 out of the first 32. My record still to this day. 30 out of 32 when I was in high school.
Attaboy.
That felt really good. One year that I didn't lay any
that?
money on it. 2011, 2012.
Okay. My best run was 07. I think I missed like 8 total games.
But yeah, this year is going to be probably one of the more tough years, because I think
that was the Joakim Noah Florida year 2.
Yeah. I think this is going to be the year where we're going to see where parity in men's college basketball really lies.
Yeah, and that's another aspect of it. And we can get into this later, but that's another great point about the tournament this year, because what did we all walk away saying at the weekend, the week before the Final Four? Is like, okay, all 8 seeds are the 1, the 2 seed. NIL, the transfer portal has killed college basketball, and this is how it's going to be from here on out. And the sky is falling, and look at that giant meteor. Pay no attention to it. But if there's a couple more Cinderellas this year, or if we're looking at a 10 or an 8 or somebody in that realm being in the final or in the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8, how much does that change the narrative? Because it feels like in college football and college basketball right now, there's 2 separate entities that we're talking about, right? It's like, okay, in football, how do you become Indiana?
Yeah.
And then in college basketball, it's like, well, how do we allow parity to continue in our favorite part of the season, which is the tournament? Mm-hmm. And I don't think that knee-jerk reaction responding to either of those things is healthy for either side. Like if I talked about this in last week about the hot seat hire, the hot seat and the coaching hires, and is Curt Cignetti going to have the Nick Saban effect on the Big Ten? I think I would pump my brakes before I responded. Listen, I think Curt Cignetti is going to be a problem for a lot of people for a long time, but I just wonder how long Indiana can sustain the success they've had. Now, obviously they had a ton of success in year 1, and then they took a step forward in year 2. But there aren't too many teams in the country that can lose a Heisman Trophy candidate at quarterback, let alone the Heisman Trophy winner, and sustain that level of success. But what does that mean, right? Does Indiana now fall back and become just a perennial college football playoff team? I don't think there's anybody in Bloomington that would bat an eye at that.
No, I think they'd be fine with that.
Yeah,
I would hope at least.
They'd be pretty happy about it. But, like, what does it look like if Curt Cignetti misses the college football playoff this year? Like, is there a shift again in the discussion we're having? And I think there would be. Now, on the opposite side of that, when we're talking about college basketball, if you got a 1 seed that gets ousted in the first weekend this year, how different does that change the conversation about how do we fix college sports, which seems to be top of mind for everybody? Speaking of top of mind, there's a certain university president that's top of mind for a lot of people around here recently. We'll tell you who it is on the other side of the break. If you missed this segment, check it out on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. It was brought to you by Allo Fiber. Across neighborhoods across the state, there's clear that there is no place like Nebraska. And just like so many of us, Allo calls Nebraska home. Born and raised right here in the Cornhusker State, sharing proud traditions of agriculture, athletics, education, and community. Just like game day traditions bring us together, Allo Fiber is bringing communities together, connection by connection. Head over to allofiber.com/Husker Radio and sign up for the official provider of internet, TV, and mobile of the Huskers. It's Allo Fiber. Check out allofiber.com tonight. Ted Carter steps down at Ohio State. We'll tell you why. The other side of the break, 620 Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. Centrally located on 78th and Dodge. If you're willing to get out on the links this summer and maybe this weekend because it's supposed to be nice again, but you don't have the best starting lineup when it comes to your closet, we've got the place for you. It's Jerry Ryan. Mizzen and Maine, Johnny O, Peter Millar, Cutter and Buck, Roan, Brax Pants, Roan, the new Horn Legend. They've got the best lineup when it comes to golf polos. You're going to be the best dressed guy out of the links. Check out Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. They've been dressing Omaha for over 50 years.
Weather from KETV Newswatch 7 is brought to you on 1620 The Zone by Certified Transmission.
Partly to mostly cloudy tonight, colder late with a low temperature around 34. There's a chance of rain and snow late night and also into the morning drive Wednesday. It'll be windy and chilly Wednesday, but turning partly sunny with a high near 50. I'm Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby from KETV News Watch 7.
Business for 6 decades, and in those 6 decades, I like to think that everything we do is about the art of comfort. It's about the skill of our people, but it's also about the integrity, because at the end of the day, I value my employees, so they value you, and that's really all this is about. If you get cold this winter, think about us. We'll come help you out. We'll get you out of bind. It'll be fair, it'll be fast, and it'll be the right price.
Control Comfort keeps it under control.
The real game changer in college athletics, it's coaches. And at Bellevue University, there is an experienced team of coaches who know you both as an athlete and as a person. Plus, there are student coach advisors who are there to provide individualized academic support every step of the way as you progress towards your degree. At Bellevue University, you're not just another athlete. You belong. We're for you and for college sports. Visit BUBruins.com.
If your brand isn't generating you business, well, it's losing. That's where Sign Ovation steps in. We help Omaha businesses win the visibility game with bold storefront signs and vehicle decals that turn your ride into a rolling billboard. Your brand should be working, even when you're not. Driving impressions, creating leads, and bringing customers through the door. Stop riding the bench. Put your brand in the game. Visit OmahaSignsAndWraps.com tonight. That's OmahaSignsAndWraps.com. Sign Ovation, where brands show up and win.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
My name's Stephen Butler, and I own Controlled Comfort, and we've been in business for 6 decades, and in those 6 decades, I like to think that everything we do is about the art of comfort. It's about the skill of our people, but it's also about the integrity, because at the end of the day, I value my employees, so they value you, and that's really all this is about. If you get cold this winter, think about us. We'll come help you out. We'll get you out of bind. It'll be fair, it'll be fast, and it'll be the right price.
Control Comfort keeps it under control.
I've always wanted to learn French, but the app I tried didn't help.
If you want to memorize words in another language, there's an app for that. But if you want to really learn another language, there's Babbel. Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different. Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Babbel feels like it was created intentionally by people who really know what you need to learn another language. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Want to really learn another language? Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com to save up to 50%. Babbel.com.
No matter what stage of life you're in, Bankers Trust has the full suite of financial products, services, and expertise to help you fulfill your dreams. Experience high-touch, personalized service in personal and commercial banking, lending, and wealth management from Iowa's largest privately owned bank. The team of experts at Bankers Trust is ready to serve you. Stop by their location at 192nd and Dodge or visit bankerstrust.com to see how they can make a difference for you. Bankers Trust, member FDIC.
Now back to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
On a Taste Test Tuesday here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. If you're looking to keep up to date on all the championship action happening on Bellevue's campus, download the BU Bruins app to your smartphone tonight. You're going to want to do it soon because Lucas Gabriel and the men's basketball team on their way to the national tournament with a chance to win a national championship. Keep up to date on that on the Bellevue Bruins app. by downloading the Beat Roots app to your smartphone.
Also hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of high expectations around that team right now, and there should be. I think to the absolute surprise to nobody, a former Nebraska official had to step down from their post because of a decision that they made. Now, Ted Carter leaving abruptly kind of felt from Nebraska, specifically when the head coach that was hired for the football program referenced trusting him as being one of the reasons was to take this job.
Yep.
To take the job at Ohio State, I think caught a lot of people off guard. But he took the job as the president of Ohio State, and he stepped down over the weekend. Why would he do that, Dan?
Well, so I heard, and from when I saw this today, because I didn't click on the Ted Carter news right away when I saw it on my phone.
Because
I was like,
why would you care about Ted Carter news until you found out why?
I was like, oh boy, I got to catch up.
Yeah. So he
inappropriate relationship with a donor?
No. A podcaster. So Ted Carter, who has been married for 35 plus years, who Matt Rule listed as a family man, a man that you trust, and got to trust the admiral. People forget that he was an admiral, even though they reference him as the admiral every time he is talked about. But had an inappropriate had an inappropriate relationship with a podcaster that was helping promote the university, and I've tried finding what defines an inappropriate relationship. There hasn't been too many details listed of what the relationship was, and that may never come about. And I want to be very clear. And I said this about Sherrone Moore, and I'll say this about Ted Carter. This isn't an Ohio State Michigan thing. This is a personal thing. Like, I'm not going to dive too much into somebody's life and their relationship. That's not why I want to have this conversation, because everything is a he said, she said. There's a truth to it all portion, right?
Well, and at this point, all we've gotten is it was an inappropriate relationship because he gave this podcaster inappropriate access to the university and to some sort of executive.
There's been a lot of innuendo around why he was doing it, or what benefits each side was getting from getting this, right? So I want to be clear that, like, this is not me like shaming Ted Carter, just like I was not going to say I 100% believe Sherrone Moore did whatever when we talked about that conversation, because these are like, who loses in these situations? The families involved. Like, it's always worse for the people that are not in the sphere of what we're talking about. And I just after the Bill Moose book came out, we heard about all the different hands that were in the pot at Nebraska. And there's a lot of conversation around what certain coaches have done in their free time. Insert Golden Tee joke here.
Yes, please.
But to me, there just feels like this 12-year period at Nebraska where you look at the people, either the athletic director chair and or above it, and don't really have, you don't see their fingerprints on anything. You know what? Like, yeah. Other than the Matt Rule hire, can you point to one other thing that you feel like, okay, Ted Carter was involved in that?
Not really.
But, and then I agree. But then you read Bill Moose's book, and it seems like they're involved in everything.
Yeah.
So it brings me to the point of, why are they doing it? Like, it's like, if you're not doing it for the glory, and maybe you are getting certain perks in certain circles, that obviously doesn't always come to the light. But there was a lot of discussion when Matt Rule was hired about there being an adult in the room now. It was like certain people on this radio station and others, and people that cover this media were talking about how different it felt because there was a leadership group in the room.
Yes.
Where it didn't feel like there was with the previous coaching staff. And I think a lot of that surfaced from Ted Carter being an admiral, having that leadership quality, and like what his expectations were for the people underneath him. Which, and that's not just from Matt Rule, that's from people that cover the media, that's from people in the athletic department that felt like that was something that was handed down linear. Now, both of these things could be true. That could absolutely be what Ted Carter set the bar at, and he could make some bad decisions in his personal life. Those two things could be joined. I just find it really hard to believe that it was as buttoned up as it sounded, and these things could happen. Those two things don't usually go hand in hand.
Yeah, well, and it's so to get to the Nebraska portion of it all, it's strange when Matt Rule comes in, we say, oh, there's an adult in the room. We have, the stability of Ted Carter, and we've got Trev Alberts. They both understand what, this is supposed to look like from a kind of operational standpoint. And we've got Matt Rule, the steady head coach who can help turn this program around.
Yeah.
And then we look back, 4 years down the road, Ted Carter's gone, Trev Alberts is gone, and a good chunk of that original Matt Rule staff is gone too. So the steady hand is off the throttle now. And it feels like from an outside looking in that we're slowing down. Now, there's a new hand on the throttle at Nebraska by the name of Troy Dannon.
Sure.
Who
also seems to be very buttoned up, by the way.
Who seems really buttoned up, is very open about what's going on at the university, it feels like, at this point in time. And it also feels like he is pushing to not only make Nebraska football better, but basketball, volleyball, every athletic program on that campus. He's trying to elevate it in the best way possible.
Yeah. And I think that's really interesting for a couple of reasons, right? Like, I think that I feel like Trev Alberts was brought in because of his savvy when it comes to raising. There was a lot of reasons, but it felt like his prowess when it comes to raising funds and donations and being the focal point of the athletic department to help with the fundraising aspect of it for the NIL collectives and things like that was a lot of the reasons he was brought in. Now, when he left, I think it felt like they brought in Troy Dannon because they felt like they wanted to start laying bricks lower in the totem pole before that, right? It was like, okay, but I think it's important to remember that Ted Carter was gone at that point too, right? So there wasn't necessarily this guy at the top of the totem pole that was like this established figurehead that had the reputation that Ted Carter does, but it felt like Troy Dannon was brought in to go, okay, no, we need to start setting the bricks and building this foundation a little bit lower than that seat. And it feels like Troy Dannon has done that, like his connections to high school athletics, his connections to the other power conferences. And then what you just said, his ability to look at things on a broader scope outside of football is where I think Troy Dannon has been a great hire because, and a lot of reason it feels like he was able to do that is the people that preceded him and the people that were currently there felt really highly about the head coach they hired. Now, this is going to be a really interesting offseason / football season / offseason next year based on the results of said football coach. Because we've seen what Troy Dannon looks like when he operates, not really, I don't want to say paying attention, but feeling like he has to pay attention to the football program or address things within that program because of the leadership it currently has. Now, if it goes south, I'm going to be that is the guy I'm going to be the most intrigued by, because this is one of those rare situations, specifically around here, where the head coach and the athletic director aren't necessarily married. Now, do Troy Dannon and Matt Rule absolutely get along and are really seem to be lockstep and everything? Absolutely.
I would hope so.
But it's really interesting because Troy Dannon didn't hire Matt Rule.
Yes.
Now, I think Matt Rule had a lot to do with Troy Dannon being hired, which makes it a really interesting dynamic, right? But if things go south with the football program this year, and vice versa, if they go well, and there's the conversation like we had this year around the Penn State situation, those two power dynamics kind of shift a little bit, and it's going to be interesting because it seems like for the first time in a long time, those two chairs are almost even keel, right? Like obviously Troy Dannon is Matt Rule's boss, which we talked about a ton on this program, on this show, but in that program, the football coach carries a lot of weight, specifically if he's winning.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how those power dynamics shift down Lincoln.
Yeah, so that's the one where I don't think it would shift that much. And that's maybe me just like hoping and wishing and praying.
Well, it wouldn't need to either, right? I think that's the important part.
That there wouldn't be a crazy like power dynamic shift, and that you want Troy Dannon to be hands-on with certain portions of the program where it's like, all right, here's how we're going to distribute NIL. Here's how we're going to try and help you out.
Yeah, you want him to worry about the not hiring and firing portion of
the transfer portal and all that stuff. I don't want to call it minutia because it's very important nowadays.
Sure.
I'm learning more and more every day. But you don't want him to have to think about, all right, well, if we go 6-6, if we go 5-8 or whatever.
5-7.
5-7.
Kind of hard to go 5-8 with 12 games, but go ahead. We'll allow it.
You go 5-8, you lose a bowl game too. Maybe. I don't know. But
not according to math, but go ahead.
If you do really bad at the football, you just do very poorly. And he's got to make that hard decision of, well, is it time maybe to, pay Matt Rule that little bit of that big old chunk of severance and say, see you later, and start the coaching search really early in the offseason?
Well, there's also the flip side of that, right? Is you just gave Matt Rule an extension this year.
Yep.
But you didn't give him any more money. You gave him more years in the contract. The dollar amount didn't go up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if he gets off to a hot start this season, listen, it's going to be a lot more difficult to do that this year than it was last year. There's probably that conversation being had, because I guarantee you there was at least, if not talked about, I'm sure everybody involved is bad at their job if it wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay, what does this look like if we start winning more? Because you got to remember, they gave the extension, and then the latter part of the season happened, and the losing started occurring.
Yeah.
I guarantee you there's probably some verbiage about money based on the amount of wins they were able to acquire this season and maybe next year. And I don't know if you know this about contracts. They're not worth the paper they're written on.
Yeah.
Because as soon as something goes wrong or something goes better, the verbiage gets changed anyway.
Yeah. And on the flip side of everything, or I mean, I guess I should say on the sunny side of everything, if all goes well and there are no issues, we have a perfectly fine, well-to-do 8-win, 9-win, 10-win season.
Yeah. If you get the year 3 bump for Matt Rule in year 4, and you're talking about a 9-3 year,
we can just lay back and we can say, hey, look at that. There's simpatico. The power dynamic hasn't changed.
Sure.
Troy Dannon did his job. Matt Rule did his job.
Yeah.
And that should, kind of wipe down into, all right, well, 2027, we've got one of the top 5 recruiting classes in the country coming out of high school this year. We should probably be making a college football playoff. And Troy Dannon should be having that next conversation with Matt Rule of, all right, well, there's this thing in your contract that triggers if you make the college football playoff.
Yeah.
Be pretty cool if I had to pay you more money, old boy.
Because we'd be making more around here. Yeah. And the 27 class of it all is so interesting, because it feels like the guy they brought in at quarterback this year, I think we can all agree it feels like it's Anthony Calandria's job to lose at this point, and I think we're all pretty lockstep with that, right?
No argument.
Is when you look at, and I know things have changed. There's a different offensive coordinator. There's a lot of things that are different. But if you look at the way they tried structuring this team in year 1,
mm-hmm.
and the absolute pivotal moment that they had to have when Dylan Raiola fell into their lap, and the way that philosophy-wise they wanted to build this thing with a Jeff Sims-esque quarterback. Anthony Calandria, from the way he plays the football game, looks a lot more like Jeff Sims than he does Dylan Raiola. I don't even think that's debatable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think Trey Taylor looks a lot more like Dylan Raiola than he does Anthony Calandria. From Trey can get out and run, and he can make plays with his feet, and he's more mobile than Dylan, but he's way less mobile than Calandria, and he's way less mobile than Jeff Sims was.
Very true. Very true. Yes.
What is this? You know what I mean? Like there's been this such a seismic shift in the way Matt Rule wanted to build this. And I understand it's been 4 years and a lot has changed probably in the way he wants to build this thing philosophy-wise, specifically because of who Dylan Raiola was. But you can't help but go back and listen to those first 10 press conferences. He intentionally brought up the quarterback run game a ton. And there could be a lot of reasons for that. It could be because he had Jeff Sims coming in, and he knew he was going to have to run the ball with the quarterback more because of Jeff Sims' ability to throw the football. Now, I think Anthony Calandria is a lot more dangerous with his feet than Jeff Sims was, and I think he's got a better arm. And I think that is more the type of quarterback that Matt Rule wants to have in the system. But, I mean, when you look at what Trey Taylor can do, and listen, this is also a kid that's never played a snap of college football. I think that's important to keep in the back of your mind.
Very fair.
But what Trey Taylor can do feels like the combination of what Matt Rule wants versus what Dana Holgorsen prefers. Now, Dana's got to stay in Lincoln, and obviously those things have to gel, but I think Anthony Calandria gives you that perfect combination of those things to say, okay, this is what, big word here, what we're going to identify as an offense. This is how what we're going to build our identity around, is a quarterback that can make plays with his feet, but we don't have to, it doesn't have to be Dylan Raiola, and it doesn't have to be Adrian Martinez. It can be a healthy combination of the two.
Well, I'm going to say, so the difference is Anthony Calandria will use his feet to get out of trouble.
Yeah.
And
he runs a little bit more than I like him to, but
continue throughout his progression And if the throw isn't there, he'll bail and he'll go.
Yeah.
Whereas Jeff Sims was 1-2, oh no, it's not there. I'm going to sprint off the tackle. What I got to get out of this pocket right now.
To a linebacker in stride.
Yes.
Hey, if you missed our thought on, I guess, Nebraska football's identity as well as the Ted Carter situation, check it out on our Radio Replay page on 1620thezone.com. It was brought to you by Pasta Amore on a Taste Test Tuesday. If you're looking for the ideal date night experience, Pasta Amore is the place for you. Rockbrook Village, they've been hand-making pasta daily for over 40 years. Stop by, tell Matt and the crew that we sent you. You can be eating it for free on us tonight. Head over to our Twitter page at After Hours 1620. Retweet the Pasta Amore tweet, and we're going to put you into a drawing to win a $25 gift card to Pasta Amore in Rockbrook Village tonight. Movement in the NFL. How does the ownership group of the Green Bay Packers feel about it? We'll talk about it. 1620 The Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Bob Williams of Williams Law. If you're facing a DUI charge, maybe you just want to know what your rights are before you get to court, you can get a free, no obligation legal consultation with Bob and his team. Bob and his team are going to sit you down. They're going to explain your rights to you. They're going to walk you through your big day in court and prepare you before you get in the judge, just to make sure that Williams Law is the right fit for you. Head over to WilliamsLawLLC.com and get that free, no obligation legal consultation tonight.
At Timber, they don't just give you a place to go for lunch or dinner. They give you an experience from their bold, smoky flavors prepared in the open concept kitchen, where you get to watch the magic happen to the relaxing umbrella-shaded patio. There's something for everyone at Timber. Join them for brunch every Saturday and Sunday from 9:30 to 2, plus happy hour from 2 to 5:30 Monday through Saturday, and 2 to close on Sunday. Timberwood Fire Bistro in the heart of Omaha at 84th and Pacific.
AX Plumbing has the cold weather deals. So if your hot water isn't so hot anymore, you can't afford to pass up on these deals. Tankless water heaters are $450 off. Traditional water heaters are $200 off. And for those real hard water problems, water softeners are $300 off. Stop by AXP Service tonight and fix your water heater before it gets too cold outside. AX Plumbing. We'll leave your home or your business cleaner than we found it.
Are you ready for the game changer of the day? Bellevue University has a new state-of-the-art 72,000 square foot field house featuring premium courts, generous fan seating, top-tier locker rooms, dedicated athletic training, and a strength and conditioning space, plus a whole lot more. It's not just a venue, it's a home court advantage. We're for you and for college sports. Visit BUBruins.com.
I've always wanted to learn French, but the app I tried didn't help.
If you want to memorize words in another language, there's an app for that. But if you want to really learn another language, there's Babbel. Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different. Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Babbel feels like it was created intentionally by people who really know what you need to learn another language. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Want to really learn another language? Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com to save up to 50%. Babbel.com.
Now back to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
Tornado, I see you coming around.
640 on the Taste Test Tuesday on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. Keep up to date on all the championship action happening on Bellevue's campus by downloading the BU Bruins app to your smartphone tonight. Jimmy Allen, Dan Campen, and Noah Houston with you here on 1620 The Zone on a Tuesday. There's a ton of action going on around the NFL right now. Teddy Bridgewater just signing with the Detroit Lions. Apparently not going back to win another state championship at a different school after he got suspended. But I gotta tip my cap to Ian Rappaport. The fact that he's never changed his name from Rap Sheet at Rap Sheet on Twitter is impressive to me.
Makes it a lot easier to find him every time.
It really does.
And also makes me go, all right, I know that I can trust this guy.
That was more the reason that I was bringing that up, because I'm I like that I could just find it in the tweet. I think we had to talk about Noah's guys first, because I think the biggest move of the offseason so far in the free agency market has been the acquisition of Kenneth Walker III to the Kansas City Chiefs, and that obviously opens up the door to let Isaiah Pacheco head to the aforementioned Detroit Lions, who just moved on from David Montgomery. So a lot of pieces being moved on the NFL chessboard right now, but I mean, obviously none than the Super Bowl MVP ending up with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid in that offense.
Bullcrap.
Yeah.
It's a load of horse pucky. The rich get richer.
Yeah, but listen, I mean, there's a lot of talk about Travis Kelce coming back for another year, and he's not necessarily saying he's going to come back and play for Kansas City, which I think is really interesting. It's going to happen. But,
it will.
But I think the Kenneth Walker acquisition is a way to it's really interesting that they were able to make that work with the Patrick Mahomes contract, the way it's structured. And obviously they had to move some pieces to make that happen. But it kind of feels like the Chiefs are going to be trying to win the arms race of offense, not worrying too much about their defense this offseason.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, Kenneth Walker, of all people, opens up a lot of fun options for Patrick Mahomes in the backfield.
Takes a lot of pressure off him, too.
And it's a lot of crazy stuff that Kenneth Walker can do that I think will pair really well with Patrick Mahomes, especially just on the Pat needs more time in the pocket to make some magic happen. Kenneth Walker is just kind of there to say, I will block my rear end off for you. So let's go.
Yeah. Honestly, I thought David Montgomery was going to end up in Kansas City before that deal happened, just because I thought he was a better fit for what was available. Because I just assumed Seattle was going to throw a checkbook at Kenneth Walker and keep him home.
I kind of hoped that they would.
But no. Is there anybody that has to feel worse about their life today than Geno Smith? Like, imagine the freedom of being able to escape from the hell that is the New York Jets, just to eventually find it. Like, he's going to retire, right? There's no way he's going back to New York and playing.
I would hope. I would hope that he wouldn't go back to New York and play, but I mean, if he does, I mean, this is just like the most cursed guy in football. He goes to the Jets, does poorly, finally finds himself in Seattle and starts bringing himself up and playing a couple good years of football. And then immediately they're like, you know what?
Oh, he went to Vegas.
We're going to send you to Las Vegas and see how that goes for you.
Well, that was twofold, right? It was like his coach went there, so he followed, and it felt like a perfect match. And then this season happened, and that clearly wasn't the case. But
yeah,
man, I couldn't imagine being one of those guys that escapes from Charlotte or from Vegas or from the Jets, and then having to go back there,
pulled back in.
And maybe he likes it. I don't know. There's something about him that wants to full circle it and be able to finish his story where he started it, but I don't know.
Maybe he still has a condo that he wasn't able to sell.
Yeah.
That's about the only real excuse that I could have for him not retiring. Is he needs, number one, the check, which I doubt is true.
Sure.
He's been an NFL quarterback long enough. He does not need a check for that. But then he's just going back to New York.
There seems to be this theme in the NFL right now where instead of investing in your long-term future, you just kind of take what's readily available. And there's like a handful of franchises that are doing that. The aforementioned Jets, definitely the Dallas Cowboys, who have not spent any money in free agency in the last 6 years, and the Atlanta Falcons, because Atlanta signs Tua Tagovailoa today, and they obviously have Michael Penix, and that has gone okay, I guess. But
it's gone fine when they've given Penix a chance.
Yeah, but they've never really given him that leeway, and then you clearly need a backup you can trust.
Mm-hmm.
But bringing in Tua in this instance, it seems really intriguing to me in Atlanta, because that tells me you don't fully trust Michael Penix yet either. And you've got a guy in Bijan Robinson who is arguably, if not the best, one of the top 3 running backs, undoubtedly, in the league. And you franchise you franchise Kyle Pitts, but they've never really been able to get that cornerstone offensive key at quarterback that they've needed. Now, you went out and you tried Kirk Cousins, but he's 49-year-old Kirk Cousins, and you brought him in to give tutelage to whoever ended up being your quarterback, and obviously it ended up being Michael Penix. But now you bring in Tua, And it kind of feels like they're bringing him in for more of a quarterback competition than to be Michael Penix's backup, which I think is really intriguing.
Well, yeah, because Tua, for all of his
Tua-isms.
Yeah, for whatever. I mean, you can call them faults, I guess. I don't really see
his ability to get a concussion really well.
Yeah, I don't really see a lot of what Tua does as faults, more as he was trying to do too much in Miami.
Sure.
But I mean, he's coming in and he's
Tua
not
doing Tua much.
Yes, he's not going to want to sit on the bench. He's not coming in to be a backup. And I think
he is.
Tua Tagovailoa does not think he's coming in to be a backup. Yeah. We all know that he's going to be the backup and he's going to be someone to give Michael Penix a little fire underneath him to say, hey, this is your team. You want to prove it now during training camp.
Sure.
This would be the time to do it. Please go right ahead. But yeah, he's
all right,
lifelong backup.
We need you to explain yourself. You and the powers that be in Green Bay have let Romeo Doubs walk out of the frozen tundra and go to the frozen tundra adjacent of Foxborough, Massachusetts. What is Green Bay doing in free agency?
Number one, I do not know.
You weren't on the call today?
I was not on the call,
okay.
Especially not on the Romeo Doubs call, because I would have said, please don't. I asked Joey the same thing, and he was like, I didn't get the phone call.
No.
But the Romeo Doubs situation is weird, but understandable because he's the oldest wide receiver in that room right now. He's also the best wide receiver in that room right now, statistically. Over the last 4 years, he's been most touchdown catches, most receptions, most yards. He's always been sort of the safety valve.
Sorry, J-Man's on fire in the night shift, but go ahead.
Oh, I'm sure he is. But he's always been that safety valve for Jordan Love. So it's kind of a weird time to make that happen. And at the same time, we just signed Sky Moore.
Yep.
To maybe be a kick returner and wide receiver. Well, he's definitely.
I think he complements that offense well, though. I think he's got a lot of different things he can add to what you guys do offensively, and specifically to help out Jordan Love as well.
Yeah, the biggest thing is I think they're really leaning on the fact that they have Christian Watson in that room still, and that they have Matthew Golden as well, and they're hoping that Golden takes a huge leap this year, and that Christian Watson's hamstrings, ACLs, MCLs, every other ligament that is below your waist,
CLs,
can stay intact throughout an entire football season.
Yeah, and obviously the biggest news outside of the Kenneth Walker move is what Vegas is doing, and it feels like for the first time in their franchise, they're putting together collective thoughts about what quarterback to bring in with the number 1 overall pick and giving him pieces around him and stabilizing him by resetting the center market by signing Tyler Linderbaum to an all-time contract at that position, and obviously what they did with Ashton Junty the year before, and obviously they weren't intentionally trying to get the number 1 overall pick this year, and I don't think anybody before the season would have assumed that was going to be Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah.
But this feels more productive in landing a number 1 overall pick that you can build around than any other time in Raiders franchise history.
Yeah, this definitely this makes the Max Crosby
last 30
move
years anyway.
From like the weekend. Mm-hmm. That makes the whole Max Crosby of it all make a teeny bit more sense.
Sure.
Because I thought Max Crosby was going to be a Raider for life.
Seemed like he wanted to be.
I think if you had asked him, he would have said, I'm a Raider for life. I don't want to go to any other franchise. But to free up the amount of money that is on their books that was Max Crosby, and to give that to I'm pretty sure he was an all-pro at least once.
Oh, more than that. Yeah, for sure.
But to give it to one of the best centers in the game and one of the best blocking centers in the game, nonetheless, in Linderbaum, is just a smart move if you're going to be drafting a quarterback number 1.
Yeah, and it also helps bolster your run game, right? And I think for a lot of people, Ashton Junty probably underperformed this year, but he's also a rookie. 3-time consecutive All-Pro, by the way, for Tyler Linderbaum. So
I thought
putting that guy in front of a number 1 overall pick that can also give him tutelage and guide him,
mm-hmm.
That's going to go a long, long way. We got to find out what's trending on social media on the other side of the break. If you missed this segment, check it out on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. It's brought to you by Controlled Comfort Heating and Air. Spring has arrived. We're kind of in false spring at this point. You know, that means you're going to need your HVAC on both sides, your heater and your air conditioner. Do you have peace of mind about either? Do you have peace of mind about both? If the answer to that question was maybe or no, you need to head over to controlledcomfort.com. Set up a maintenance appointment with Tony and the team. They're going to come out. They're going to take a look at not only your furnace, but they'll take a look at your AC and give you the longevity and how long you can expect those two systems to last. Check out controlledcomfort.com tonight. We'll be right back, finding out what's trending on social media. 1620 Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Recon Pest Services. I was over at my neighbor's the other night. We were doing a cookout, and the guy cooking slapped his leg and said, mosquito already. Yeah, unfortunately, it's getting to that season where critters are coming out of hiding. And if you want them to stay out of your yard, head over to ReconPestServices.com. Recon Pest Control will come out. They'll spray your yard and keep you bug-free all summer long. Head over to ReconPestServices.com. Work with them tonight.
Rail Cars Happy Hour is here. Stop by 144th and Blondo Monday through Saturday from 2:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday from 2 to close, and enjoy $2 to $5 off appetizers, $1 off draft and bottles of beer, and delicious ciders. All signature cocktails are $10. Classic cocktails are $8. And every glass of wine is $2 off. Plus, Rail Cars' incredible brunch menu is on display 9:30 to 2 Saturday and Sunday. Rail Car Modern American Kitchen, 144th and Blondo.
Are you dreaming of your business dominating local Google searches, drawing in customers effortlessly? Look no further. I'm Courtney, the Google gal from Pixel Fire Marketing. Need assistance with your Google business profile? From verification to getting more reviews, fixing maps to tackling annoying Google calls? I've got you covered. Your profile sets you apart and ensures you're the top choice for local customers. Visit fixmygbp.com for our $297 special offer. Visit fixmygbp.com for more details.
My name's Stephen Butler, and I own Controlled Comfort. And we've been in business for 6 decades. And in those 6 decades, I like to think that everything we do is about the art of comfort. It's about the skill of our people, but it's also about the integrity, because at the end of the day, I value my employees, so they value you. And that's really all this is about. If you get cold this winter, think about us. We'll come help you out. We'll get you out of bind. It'll be fair, it'll be fast, and it'll be the right price.
Control Comfort keeps it under control.
Winter may slow pests down, but it's the perfect time to prepare your home for spring. Rodents, spiders, and other pests often show up indoors this time of year. A winter pest control checkup helps seal entry points now so you're not dealing with pests when warmer weather hits. At Recon Pest Services, we're proud to be a local company and supporting causes that make Omaha better. If you're looking for a pest control partner or even support for a cause, think Recon. Visit ReconPestServices.com and get your home ready for a pest-free spring.
The real game changer in college athletics, it's coaches. And at Bellevue University, there is an experienced team of coaches who know you both as an athlete and as a person. Plus, there are student coach advisors who are there to provide individualized academic support every step of the way as you progress towards your degree. At Bellevue University, you're not just another athlete. You belong. We're for you and for college sports. Visit BUBruins.com.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
You are listening to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
6:55 on a Taste Test Tuesday at 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. Keep up to date on all of the championship action happening on Bellevue's campus by downloading the BU Bruins app to your smartphone tonight. It is spring football season, and we got to look at the quarterbacks today. And Dan, we talked about this in the opening segment, that it's pretty clear there's a hierarchy in Nebraska football right now from the quarterback standpoint of who the starter is going to be. And I think we all pretty much agree that Anthony Calandria is brought in to be the guy. I don't know why he'd be brought in otherwise outside of an injury occurring. And I think, I don't want to say confirmation, but I think we feel a lot better about that assessment after what we saw from that room today. I don't know if it's just the angle of the camera that we got to see, or it's just maybe another step of the offense. But I don't know why. For me today, TJ Latif's release looked a lot slower. And for a guy that was, when he was brought in, that was one of the focal points, or one of the positives about him, was how quickly he got rid of the football. It looked almost a step or two slower than what we saw from Anthony Calandria.
Yeah, I thought TJ Latif looked a little bit rusty right now in this offseason. I mean, in the world of like NIL and transfer portal, it almost kind of like seems like it's a bit of a kick in the pants for, someone like an Anthony Calandria and a TJ Latif to like come into a place, because I feel like the guy who comes in, you're like,
you automatically feel bad for the other guy.
Yeah, you're not here to, pick daisies and sit in the grass and make nice with everybody. You're here to be the starter at the position that you got brought in for. Well, for the most part, when you're in the transfer portal.
And he being TJ Latif was specifically asked about it. What was it, 3 days ago, where they were talking to the media, they being the quarterbacks, and said, what went into your decision making on staying or going? And there's no decision to be made. I want to be here and I want to be a Husker. And
yeah,
I think we get so caught up in is this guy going to leave, and how much is this guy getting paid to stay, and what does the checkbook look like for a guy like that there are guys like TJ Latif, there are guys like Ryan Kalkbrenner, there are guys that make the decision on what school to go to based on what school they want to go to, not if they could start, how much they can get paid to do it. And I think those guys are going to be less and less talked about and less available, because, obviously as time goes on, that's going to be the driving conversation. But it's somewhat refreshing to have a guy like TJ Latif come in and say, well, it doesn't matter about starting. It doesn't matter about the paycheck. I'm sure the latter part probably has something to do with it, but I want to be here. I want to play for this coach. I want to play for this team. And I wasn't the starter last year, still started a lot of games, and I can still get a chance this year.
Yeah, I know. I enjoy that a little bit more than
how much are they getting paid?
The whole transfer portal of it all, because I do think we lose a little bit in the, being loyal kind of camp just in general. I mean, like, yes, Danny Kaelin had his year where he left, but he's back now. And I think that says a lot about him and a lot about, sort of the finishing what I've started kind of portion of it all. But yeah, Anthony Calandria looks like a good option. Seems like he's going to be a good 1 year stopgap at this point. I think it'll be interesting next fall to see what that quarterback room kind of shakes out to be, because if Latif isn't the starter this year, will he stay? He's got stuff on tape. He, showed what he could do last year. I'm sure there are coaches probably who reached out to him this offseason and said, hey, we don't really know what your school's going to do. Your quarterback might be coming back. He might be leaving. We don't know. Maybe you come and play for us. TJ Latif obviously chose to stay. Danny Kaelin's back in the room. You've still got Bodie Suckup, from Blair, who's been sitting in there this whole time. So it's an odd combination of folks that we have.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say that even with what I just said a minute ago about TJ Latif and wanting to be here, is like that narrative can change on a year by year basis too, because there's the what if Matt Rule's not here conversation.
Oh yeah,
and that feels like that changes a lot as well. We got to buy or sell on several different topics. If you missed our first hour, check it out on our radio replay page at 1620thezone.com. It was brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. Does your business post on social media every day? Do you have time to do that? If not, we have the solution for you. Check out pixelfiremarketing.com tonight. Dan Desai and his crew will sit you down, give you the roadmap to success, and engage your ideal client online with ads that convert to sales. How do I know that? They do it for me in my daily business at Sinovation every single day. They can help you out today as well. Head over to pixelfiremarketing.com for more details. We buy or sell with Noah Houston on the other side of the break. 16-point zone.
In the shadow of men who sold their lives to a dream.
Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for AX Plumbing. Home or residential, they can do it all. They've done it for me. They've installed a urinal at my business. They've come out and they've replaced a wax ring underneath my toilet. They water jetted my entire line out to the street in my home, and we had a backup on Thanksgiving. If you want service like that you can count on, head over to AX Plumbing at axpservice.com tonight. If you have a big-time plumbing project, not a big-time plumbing budget, there's financing available on the website as well. Check out axpservice.com. Work with Nick and the crew tonight.
AX Plumbing has the cold weather deals. So if your hot water isn't so hot anymore, you can't afford to pass up on these deals. Tankless water heaters are $450 off. Traditional water heaters are $200 off. And for those real hard water problems, water softeners are $300 off. Stop by AXP Service tonight and fix your water heater before it gets too cold outside. AX Plumbing. We'll leave your home or your business cleaner than we found it.
Winter may slow pests down, but it's the perfect time to prepare your home for spring. Rodents, spiders, and other pests often show up indoors this time of year. A winter pest control checkup helps seal entry points now so you're not dealing with pests when warmer weather hits. At Recon Pest Services, we're proud to be a local company and supporting causes that make Omaha better. If you're looking for a pest control partner or even support for a cause, think Recon. Visit reconpestservices.com and get your home ready for a pest-free spring.
Ready to make a positive impact in a young boy's life? Join Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands and become a mentor where you are matched up with a boy in the greater Omaha area. Over 50 boys are waiting for someone like you to guide and inspire them. Visit mentoromaha.org and sign up to make a difference in a boy's life. Don't wait. Make a lasting impact today.
If your brand isn't generating you business, well, it's losing. That's where Sign Ovation steps in. We help Omaha businesses win the visibility game with bold storefront signs and vehicle decals that turn your ride into a rolling billboard. Your brand should be working, even when you're not. Driving impressions, creating leads, and bringing customers through the door. Stop riding the bench. Put your brand in the game. Visit OmahaSignsAndWraps.com tonight. That's OmahaSignsAndWraps.com. Sign Ovation, where brands show up and win.
KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone.
Top of the second hour here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. Download the BU Bruins app to your smartphone to keep up to date on all the championship action happening on Bellevue's campus. We have some breaking news out of the NFL ranks right now. We're trying to get more confirmation on this, but it sounds like the Ravens and the Raiders have backed out of the Max Crosby deal. We're trying to get more confirmation here. Dan, who was your source on that?
Jordan Schultz and Ari Merov.
Both are reporting. Yeah, breaking news. No, that's the confirmation. I'm trying to find something that says.
Here you go. 3 minutes ago, Adam Schefter. Ravens backed out of the Max Crosby trade.
There you go.
And he's never been wrong about anything.
For some reason, I'm not pulling it up on Twitter. I don't know what's going on. But, yeah, it sounds like a deal we talked about at the beginning of the show is maybe the one of the, if not the biggest deal of the NFL free agency market so far is Max Crosby. Sounds like he may be going back to Las Vegas.
And now the most official source of them all, the Las Vegas Raiders 1 minute ago put out, the Baltimore Ravens had backed out of our trade agreement for Max Crosby. We will have no further comment at this time.
Yeah. So obviously
in a graphic too. So well, it took someone some time.
Well, you got to, I mean, AI is a thing now. See our show to prove that.
AI has always been a thing. Allen Iverson. Shout out Georgetown.
You got to wonder, obviously Max Crosby gets hurt at the end of last season, gets shut down for the end of the year, how much that injury may play into him maybe not passing a physical or being the reason why that trade isn't happening now. But we'll keep you posted on that. But while we do that, we also need to get to by ourselves. Noah Houston.
All right, so Duke, Arizona, Michigan, and Florida are your top 4 teams in the AP pool as Champ Week is upon us. Buy or sell, they're going to get the top 4 lines come bracket Sunday.
I know we already touched on. That's why when
that's why I'm pointing at you. Go ahead.
That's why when you had the
UConn statement
at the top of the show, that's why I kind of went, oh, okay, we're going to talk about this now. But yeah, I do agree with you. UConn is a great person to come in and kind of.
Well, they're a team, not a person. But go ahead.
Snipe one of those lines. I mean, I see a husky as a dog. You know,
sure, that's also not a person. Keep going.
All dogs go to heaven.
That doesn't make them a person.
Yeah, dogs have souls. But yeah, I do think those are the top 4 probably people to make the top 4 seed lines.
Yeah, the other team that's the outlier there that I think you can throw into that conversation is obviously Houston, the national runner-up from a year ago. They're on a hot streak right now. They're able to go on and win the Big 12 championship over like an Iowa State and able to win that. I think they have an absolute shot. There's all this love for Florida, and I think there's some merit to it. It kind of feels like what they did last year is making people feel all warm and fuzzy in their tum-tum about what they can do this year.
Mm-hmm.
They obviously caught a lot of people off guard in that tournament last year. They're not going to do that this year. It feels like they're going to get a number one seed because of them being the national champions from a year ago. If Nebraska's able to beat Michigan in the Big Ten championship game, it'll be really interesting to see how those four teams are all kind of handled. I feel like those top three teams, the Duke, Arizona, and Michigan of the world, should be slotted in at number one. No matter what happens down the stretch, it'll be interesting to see what actually does come of it, though.
All right, so Tariq Skubal got his first win at the World Baseball Classic, and now he is headed back to Tigers camp. Buy or sell, you're excited if you're a Tigers fan.
You should be. I think you should absolutely be elated by it, so I buy that. But there's been this weird pressure thing going on with him where people feel like he should stay and continue to pitch in the World Baseball Classic. Yeah. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. I mean, he did what he was asked to do. That it came there and delivered, pun intended, for America's team. But there's a lot of money at stake for a guy like that to not blow out his arm in this tournament that I know, and a lot of people don't want to hear this, doesn't really mean anything. I get the patriotic duty. I get why you would want to do it. He did what he was supposed to do. Let him go make his millions of dollars and start Tigers camp.
Yeah, and he's
really good, though.
He has agreed to do what he said that he was going to do from the start. He was like,
he felt like he was like 50-50 about wanting to leave.
Yeah, he will. And I mean, it went pretty well for him the other night, but
yeah, I'd say so.
It's kind of like one of those weird things where he's like, I could stay here and I could keep, he definitely wants to keep playing in the World Baseball Classic, but also on the other end of 162 games lies the number one, or I guess probably the number two prize, the number one individual prize for a pitcher, a Cy Young award. And if he could accomplish that this year, I believe that would be 3 Cy Young awards in a row. So Tariq Skubal, go get that bag, because you have to convince the Tigers this next offseason again to actually give you a real contract.
Noah?
Speaking of the WBC, Randy Arozarena is peeved at Cal Raleigh for a snub in the Classic. Buy or sell? This is just some good old-fashioned competitive drive.
It's absolutely competitive drive. I mean, this is what this is supposed to like. There's nothing really at stake here. So what else do we have more than competitive drive?
Yeah, I thought actually Cal Raleigh put it best. He went, he's like, we're friends. He's like, but
team.
We're playing against each other right now
team.
In a competition that is going to end up with hopefully my team making it to the final. So I'm not going to be buddy with my teammates outside of training camp. He's like, me and Randy will hash this out later. He's like, this is not that big of a news story right now.
I need more participants from the World Baseball Classic to go back and watch the Dream Team documentary. Do we not remember Kobe Bryant running through Pau Gasol's chest to set the tone in that first game against Spain?
People forget too much.
Like, this is what sports is supposed to be like. You're not supposed to like the guy on the other side of the team. You're not supposed to go on a banana boat 1, 2, 3 Cancun at the end of the season. No, you're supposed to want to win. More importantly, you're supposed to want to beat the other guy, even if they are a teammate or a friend back home.
But that's how you get to Miami, Jimmy.
Fair enough.
And that's how you make the decision during the summer of 2010.
Yeah, Kobe Bean Bryant famously didn't give 2 Fs about that.
All right, so is there any NFL free agency stuff we missed?
Well, yeah, apparently we didn't know about Max Crosby.
Yeah, we didn't know about Max Crosby.
I had no idea either.
Until we literally went off air. Also, while the Cowboys, as you have said, are not being big free agency
paid
spenders,
one guy.
They did just pay one gentleman in Rashawn Gary. And the Romeo Doubs one hurt, but the Rashawn Gary one hurts even more. Because that was one of those like, all right, we're the Packers. We've got a first round pick. What are we going to do? Are we going to go offense? Are we going to go defense? Are we finally going to draft a wide receiver? And a lot of people got upset when they drafted Rashawn Gary with their first round pick that year in the draft. And then immediately, first game of the season, they were like, We don't regret it. We take it all back. This guy's amazing. And that one hurts the most probably for me right now.
There's a lot of people that texted me yesterday asking me if I was super excited about the Mike Evans pickup for San Francisco. And it's fine. Like,
is he going to bring his cane?
Exactly. It was my same reaction that I had about Christian. Well, that's not true. I was way more excited about Christian McCaffrey. But is he playing in week 12? If he's playing in week 12, I'm really excited about the Mike Evans pickup.
Yes.
But if he's done before then, do I really care? Should I care? It's with a player with this many racked up injuries this many times consecutively, it's just really hard. Mike Evans is a great player. He's a great wide receiver. There's a lot to be excited about there. I'm just not that excited about it in 2026.
I mean, on the, kind of brighter side of it all, he is a very sturdy target.
Yeah, if he can stand up, if his ACL's intact.
To be able for Brock Purdy to look across the line at and say, all right, at least I know I got one guy who can go out there and can catch basically any ball that I throw at him. It is a positive.
How long can he do that for? Can he do it? Absolutely. How many games can he do it for? That's my question. We open up the show to you for your questions on the other side of the break. It's open bar time when we come back. If you missed this segment, check it out on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. It was brought to you by Controlled Comfort Heating and Air. Spring is right around the corner. That means you don't want to have pollen in your house or deal with your nose stuffing up. You need your air conditioner to work. How do you make sure that happens? You head over to controlledcomfort.com tonight. Set up a maintenance appointment. Let the crew come out. They'll replace your furnace filter. They'll adjust your humidity setting on your furnace as well. Check out controlledcomfort.com for more details tonight. Open bar, the other side of the break, 1620 Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Allo Fiber. Made the switch 2 years ago to Allo Fiber. It really felt like I finally joined the digital age. No more buffering on my TV. When my kids jump on their iPad, I don't have to worry about my screen buffering. I don't have to worry about sharing my network with my neighbors. An all fiber connection from the node all the way up to my house. No sharing of our network anytime. You can have that same type of service with allofiber.com tonight.
Weather from KETV Newswatch 7 is brought to you on 1620 The Zone by Certified Transmission.
Partly to mostly cloudy tonight. Colder late with a low temperature around 34. There's a chance of rain and snow late night and also into the morning drive Wednesday. It'll be windy and chilly Wednesday, but turning partly sunny with a high near 50. I'm Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby from KETV Newswatch 7.
If you're looking for an authentic Italian experience, look no further than Pasta Amore. For 4 decades, Pasta Amore has been keeping the spark alive for couples in the Omaha area with their homemade pasta, made fresh every day. Our hand-picked selection of exceptional wines will put the nightcap on your evening that you expect. Open every day at 4. Stop by Pasta Amore in Rockbrook Village and enjoy dining in a romantic dining room or relax on our shaded patio.
Are you dreaming of your business dominating local Google searches, drawing in customers effortlessly? Look no further. I'm Courtney, the Google gal from Pixel Fire Marketing. Need assistance with your Google business profile? From verification to getting more reviews, fixing maps to tackling annoying Google calls? I've got you covered. Your profile sets you apart and ensures you're the top choice for local customers. Visit fixmygbp.com for our $297 special offer. Visit fixmygbp.com for more details.
If your brand isn't generating you business, well, it's losing. That's where Sign Ovation steps in. We help Omaha businesses win the visibility game with bold storefront signs and vehicle decals that turn your ride into a rolling billboard. Your brand should be working, even when you're not. Driving impressions, creating leads, and bringing customers through the door. Stop riding the bench. Put your brand in the game. Visit OmahaSignsAndWraps.com tonight. That's OmahaSignsAndWraps.com. Sign Ovation, where brands show up and win.
Ready to make a positive impact in a young boy's life? Join Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands and become a mentor where you are matched up with a boy in the greater Omaha area. Over 50 boys are waiting for someone like you to guide and inspire them. Visit mentoromaha.org and sign up to make a difference in a boy's life. Don't wait. Make a lasting impact today.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
No matter what stage of life you're in, Bankers Trust has the full suite of financial products, services, and expertise to help you fulfill your dreams. Experience high-touch, personalized service in personal and commercial banking, lending, and wealth management from Iowa's largest privately owned bank. The team of experts at Bankers Trust is ready to serve you. Stop by their location at 192nd and Dodge or visit bankerstrust.com to see how they can make a difference for you. Bankers Trust, member FDIC.
You're listening to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone. Bar, dude. Oh.
One bourbon, one Scotch, one beer.
6 Schlitz, whatever's free.
It is open bar time. Noah Houston is absolutely killing it tonight on the 1s and 2s. He nailed the open there. I'm Jimmy Allen. That's Dan Campinen. You can get hold of us at 402-951-1620. You can tweet at the show at After Hours 1620 or just message us on the night shift. Punch in. Let us know your thoughts on anything we're talking about because we have opened the show up to you. We kind of got into this earlier, but we'll go in the order that we got these questions. Greg on Facebook said, with the Ted Carter situation, all the stuff that came out about Frost after he was gone, have you seen Michael Severe's video? What is the media's responsibility to report on the, quote, non-sports related news when it involves the sports team that they follow? And Greg threw in and he loves the show. Greg, we appreciate you listening. Thanks. We appreciate the question. I'm going to go back to what I said about Ted Carter, what I said about Sharon Moore, what I've said about Scott Frost is your personal life is your personal life. If you're giving to charity or cheating on your wife, I think those are two things that are outside of the realm of what I need to talk about. So if there's something going on, I'm not alluding to anybody that we talked about doing those things. Obviously, Sharon Moore is reported to have. I don't care to report on this type of stuff. We obviously have to talk about it when it is directly related to the teams that we cover around here. But as far as getting into details about what should punishments be, or should they have done this bad thing, or should they be doing this good thing, that's not really for me to say. Now, there's a lot of people that felt like the rumor and innuendos around margaritas and golf tee and missing meetings or practices or what was reported and what wasn't reported falls on the people that sit in these chairs or on the news or what have you. I think it's really important to point out that unless you have proof of something, you shouldn't be saying anything.
Yes.
Specifically when it's stuff like that could absolutely ruin somebody's life, whether it's true or not.
So I'm glad that you took this question first because I read it a different way. The initial way that I would say, or I should say, I agree with you. I think the non-sporting factors of it, I think, don't always need to be divulged upon if we don't know exactly what it is that happened.
Great point.
And we don't need to get into the minutia of it all because it doesn't really affect the overall sports nature of it.
Second time Dad said the word minutia tonight, by the way.
Now, the way that I read the question at first is, what is the media's responsibility to report on non-sports related news when it involves the sports teams? I thought that was a dig at like news reporters. And I was like, that is their only job because at a lot of these places, they're the highest paid employees in the state.
Yeah, 100%.
No matter what. So
specifically around here.
Like if it's about the firing of Scott Frost, if it's about Ted Carter in Ohio. I think it's an important thing to talk about
to me,
on the news.
I think he's asking, Greg, 402-951-1620, let us know if we're misrepresenting your question. I think it's more if Scott Frost wasn't going to meetings or showing up at practices, why weren't we told about it?
And that's why I said I'm glad you took it first. Yeah. Because I was like, I think that's the angle that he was going for.
And I've said this before, and I'm going to die on this hill for as long as this microphone is in front of my face. Would you believed us? Like, think about it really. Would you believe that and not just Scott Frost, fill in the blank head coach here isn't showing up to meetings, is rumored to be drinking on the job. Like, and again, this is all still to this day rumored. Would you really have believed us?
And I can tell you, no.
The phone lines would have lit up for whoever said it, and the pitchforks and the torches would have been out.
I'm just laughing because
think about that portion for a second.
I'm laughing because the one person that I imagine drawing the ire of Nebraska fans statewide, if not just Omaha wide in the city and possibly Lincoln wide as well, is can you imagine if Josh Peterson came onto this station and said, well, we know all these things about Matt Rule, and just listed them all off.
He got in trouble for reporting the truth. So
we would have all 6 of these lines just blowing up.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. It's one of those things that you got to think about. What's the truth? What are the facts? What do we know? And how is this going to affect myself, the person we're reporting on, and can we prove it? And if the answer to one of those questions is no, you don't say anything.
I would hope so.
And it's just one of those things that you sitting in this chair, speaking into this microphone, has a ton of power. And that's not me saying I'm this powerful person, but we reach so many people on a daily basis. And thank you. We appreciate you tuning in, being the best part of our show. But it comes with a lot of weight behind it. I mean, I'll make that point in a minute because there's another question here. Steve on Twitter wants to know who's been the biggest winner and losers of free agency. And I'll start off, Dan, because I think we obviously already answered this question with the winners. It's in my opinion, undoubtedly, it's been the Chiefs. I think they've been head and shoulders above the biggest winner. Behind them, I think the Raiders are second, especially if they're going to be able to get Max Crosby back, which now it sounds like they're going to. As far as losers, I guess the Jets.
Yeah. I mean, perennially, it's kind of like just where they sit is in Loserville.
Do you have a winner or loser in free agency we haven't talked about?
Not really. I mean, honestly, the Chiefs, just for the bolstering that they did, like picking sort of the correct positions to address and addressing them.
Yeah, when you need a running back, you should get one.
The Raiders, like, making the smartest possible move, just of all of the things that they could have done in free agency, they said, we're probably going to draft this quarterback number 1, and we probably want him not to get murdered in his first year. We should probably add some line help. Great idea.
No, you got any thoughts on winners of NFL free agency?
I got the Chiefs.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Yep.
Another Greg, this time on Twitter, wanted to know. He said, he said, you just said this doesn't have to. Oh, no, this is the same Greg. I'm sorry. Greg, thanks for getting back to us again. You said this doesn't have to be sports related. So, Dan, I think I'm really interested maybe the most to hear your answer to this because I think you know my answer.
Okay.
Who is the greatest band of all time?
Band of all time. Okay, so that you open it up.
I think it's important to point out the greatest of all time doesn't have to be your favorite.
That's fair. So monetarily wise, you can't really argue that the Beatles were one of the greatest bands of all time, simply because of the fact that when they saw that things were changing in the late 60s, they pivoted their sound to be more psychedelic. They changed their sound so many times. They experimented with different sounds. At times they were the first people to make it onto a wave of like, we can do more with psychedelic music. We can do more with kind of the production of this stuff to make it sound airier, to make it sound brighter, to make it sound more breathy.
No, have you ever listened to Yellow Submarine?
Yes.
Attaboy.
But the greatest band of all time, and I will say it until the day that my breath goes out of my body, is the Grateful Dead.
Why did you become like a Boston accent there? That was weird.
Because that's how you say body.
For me, the greatest band of all time is Metallica.
Fair enough.
The Black Album, I think, is just a piece of music that needs to be studied by anybody that wants to make music. Don't worry about Saint Anger or anything made after that. We don't talk about those days. But my favorite band of all time is Linkin Park. Like, just that changed the way I thought about music, specifically the Meteora album. I love what you said about, because like you have to put this into categories, right? Because just a band isn't all encompassing. I guess it can be for discussion's sake, but like, where does Nirvana fit into the equation? How do you put a band like Nine Inch Nails into this topic? Like, you can't look at the Beatles, Nine Inch Nails, and Linkin Park and go, that's the same thing. And it's so hard to encompass all that.
Well, and then it's with the 9 Inch Nails portion of it, it's all right. So do you take just 9 Inch Nails? Right. Do you expand it out and say, but also the work that Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross have done as a collective together, separately and together, and the Social Network, mid-90s, like all of these atmospheric, perfect film scores that they've done over the last like 15 years.
How much did LimeWire affect the way you feel about that band?
Not true. Even if Lars got up there and said that he's going to find the guy who made LimeWire and murder him, I'd still be like, no, he's probably right.
Yeah, it's just such an all-encompassing question. No, you got a favorite band of all time?
I would say the Beatles.
Okay. I did not expect that to come out of you. Eric on Twitter says,
no love for Hootie and the Blowfish, I see.
This is going to be Wagon Wheel's a great song. This is going to be a good one for you. I have a couple answers to this. Eric, who's a long-term listener. Eric, we appreciate you checking in for the night shift. You lads have been at this for a while. What's your best and worst take you've ever had on air?
Ooh.
You all know what I'm going to say, so I'll let Dan go.
I don't know what my best take I've ever had is. I've had a lot of bad ones.
That's true. I can attest.
I've had a lot of bad takes.
I think the worst take I ever had is not the Mike Trout one. Because, and not to retcon this, and not that it even matters. Like, maybe Mike Trout's not a bust. I guess I'll admit it after 2 years.
Wow.
But what I was trying to get more off, not necessarily a bust, but did not live up to the potential we thought he could by the time when he was when he was doing the fantastic things he started doing because of the injuries and other things. But when I saw how many passes Patrick Mahomes threw coming out of college, I was like, is this dude's arm going to fall off him in year 2 in the NFL? I was like, why are the Chiefs trading up to get this guy? That was a bad take. My best take, I think last year when I said that I thought Florida could go on a run and win the national championship before the season or before the tournament started.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It's probably up there with them. I said that I thought Adrian Martinez was going to set the spring football league on fire. That came out to be pretty true. I'm thinking of other bad ones I've had. If you have any for us, let us know. 402-951-1620 or on check in for the night shift. And let us know. We will continue to monitor the Max Crosby situation. We'll talk about the Big Ten tournament, the Big East tournament. We come back on the other side of the break. If you missed this segment, check it out on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. It was brought to you by Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear, the premier suit buying experience in the Midwest. I can attest to it personally. I bought my wedding suit from Jerry Ryan, and that bad boy has been multi-purpose. I've worn it at Madison Square Garden for the Big East tournament. I've worn it in here for big time events. I've worn it to other people's weddings as well. If you want a suit that's going to last you, that you can rely on after your big day, but it's also going to make you stand out when you stand in front of your bride, check out Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. They've been dressing Omaha for over 50 years. What should Creighton do? What should Nebraska do in their respective tournaments? We'll tell you on the other side of the break. 1620 The Zone.
Turn off the video, you beat yourself up.
Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for our friends at Pasta Amore. It's not too late. You're looking at date night. Are you excited about possibly taking the missus out and getting dinner? Maybe dinner on us. Head over to our Twitter page at AfterHours1620. Retweet the Pasta Amore Taste Test Tuesday post, and we're going to enter you into a drawing to win a $25 gift card to Pasta Amore tonight. When you head over there, don't forget to tell Matt and the crew that After Hours sent you.
At Timber, they don't just give you a place to go for lunch or dinner. They give you an experience. From their bold, smoky flavors prepared in the open concept kitchen where you get to watch the magic happen to the relaxing umbrella-shaded patio. There's something for everyone at Timber. Join them for brunch every Saturday and Sunday from 9:30 to 2, plus happy hour from 2 to 5:30 Monday through Saturday, and 2 to close on Sunday. Timberwood Fire Bistro in the heart of Omaha at 84th and Pacific.
My name's Stephen Butler, and I own Controlled Comfort. And we've been in business for 6 decades. And in those 6 decades, I like to think that everything we do is about the art of comfort. It's about the skill of our people, but it's also about the integrity, because at the end of the day, I value my employees, so they value you. And that's really all this is about. If you get cold this winter, think about us. We'll come help you out. We'll get you out of bind. It'll be fair, it'll be fast, and it'll be the right price.
Control Comfort keeps it under control.
Are you ready for the game changer of the day? Bellevue University has a new state-of-the-art 72,000 square foot field house featuring premium courts, generous fan seating, top-tier locker rooms, dedicated athletic training, and a strength and conditioning space, plus a whole lot more. It's not just a venue, it's a home court advantage. We're for you and for college sports. Visit BUBruins.com.
If your brand isn't generating you business, well, it's losing. That's where Sign Ovation steps in. We help Omaha businesses win the visibility game with bold storefront signs and vehicle decals that turn your ride into a rolling billboard. Your brand should be working, even when you're not. Driving impressions, creating leads, and bringing customers through the door. Stop riding the bench. Put your brand in the game. Visit OmahaSignsAndWraps.com tonight. That's OmahaSignsAndWraps.com. Sign Ovation, where brands show up and win.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. Now back to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
$7:34 on our Taste Test Tuesday on 1620 The Zone. We skipped over one buy or sell question. Noah Houston has threatened to kick me out of my own studio if I don't allow him to ask.
So mean.
Noah, go ahead and ask.
So lastly, Travis Kelce is coming back for his 14th NFL season and has said that his inspiration for coming back is his soon-to-be wife, Taylor Swift. Buy or sell?
Is this real?
That's a lie.
It is real.
Because Taylor loves the number 13 and would have loved for her man to retire on her lucky number.
I do. I think it's a total lie. I think this is Travis Kelce just saying, I need a little bit more time and a little bit more money. Taylor's got expensive tastes. I have even more expensive tastes, and I got to get out of the house. Because if it's up to Taylor Swift and she has the opportunity to say, my husband played 13 years in the NFL, she would have taken that in a heartbeat. Not taking it one bit. This is all for you, Travis. This has nothing to do with Taylor.
I have a theory on this.
I have an opinion.
This doesn't bode well for the future Mr. and Mrs. Kelce, right? Because the alternative to him not playing and I can't believe we're talking about this. The alternative to him not playing football would be being around her more, right?
Hypothetically, yes.
Looking at you, Tom Brady and Gisele Bundchen. If like, if he's going back to play a 14th season of football where he's already won multiple Super Bowls, he's already had a ton of success, multiple Pro Bowls, multiple seasons where he can go, feel like I did my best work and hang it up. If he's not doing that, kind of feels like a Taylor Swift problem more than a Travis Kelce problem.
I wonder if he's really just trying to solidify himself in the record books so that he's got
what?
So that he's got some of those, like, you know, playoff like receptions, playoff yards, playoff touchdowns. He's got some of those a little bit further out of reach for the guys in the next generation so that he can keep some of those records underneath his belt for a little while longer.
Nah, man, this is we told you they weren't getting married 3 years ago and it's not going to happen thing.
Oh no, they're definitely getting married.
No, it's not going to last.
I'm telling you, they're getting married.
Noah,
it's going to be
you glad to have your boy back?
Yeah, I'm glad Travis is back because the Chiefs made a lot of moves to the roster and they added Eric Bieniemy back and they added new coaches to all the positions almost. But yeah, I'm glad Kelsey's back.
I don't know if I'd be that happy about it if I were you. You know, you should be happy about the fact that Nebraska basketball is the number 2 seed in the NCAA tournament, in the Big Ten tournament, only behind Michigan. And we're going to be off for a couple days because of said conference tournaments and the NCAA tournament going on. Dan, obviously Nebraska doesn't play till Friday. Expectations for you for what they need to do in this tournament?
So I think it would be nice to see them win one conference tournament game.
That's it, huh? You don't want a tournament championship?
I mean, I want them to win the tournament championship. They, out of anybody, I think, though, have maybe the hardest road.
No, we don't know what that road quite looks like yet, but yeah.
Well, so hypothetically, if we just assume that the higher seed wins, they've got to either take on Purdue or Indiana. One of those is a great situation for them. One of those is a middling situation for them. Neutral ground probably will be, well, I was about to say probably will be more Purdue fans in the stands, but if there's one thing that I know about Nebraska, we travel better than almost any college in the country. So I would bet you that they probably make it to game 16. I would hope that they're taking on Michigan State, and then that's where I'm going to draw my line and say I can't comment any further.
See, that's why it's the most interesting slate, though, because your options are Purdue, Indiana, and Michigan State, by the way. And there's obviously the outside chance that it ends up being a UCLA, a Rutgers, or a Minnesota. That's not going to happen. But whoever they end up moving past is not going to be an easy feat, whether it be Indiana, whether it be Purdue. I guess it could technically be Penn State or Northwestern. That's not going to happen either.
The way that I've watched them play so far, just in this first half of basketball, it's probably not going to be Penn State or Northwestern.
Yeah, yeah, and I think like a lot of people felt really good that Iowa moved up to the 9 seed and they avoided Nebraska completely because the success that Iowa's defense specifically has had against Nebraska. But I think this version of Nebraska is going to be the most locked in. You're going to see them all season. I think there's an internal pressure from this team to go on to win the Big Ten championship. They clearly don't have to, and it feels weird to say that to make the NCAA tournament because we've had to say it so many times. There's also the rest versus rust situation too, right? Like, do you want Nebraska to play more games to be a more well-oiled machine heading into March Madness, or do you want them to be able to sit and get a little more rest to be ready and prepared for the big tournament that actually matters? Because, you know, if listen, Nebraska goes on to win a Big Ten tournament championship, this is probably already undoubtedly the greatest season in Nebraska basketball history. I don't even know how many other ones could compare to me.
No doubt.
Eric Pikowski led teams have some sort of candle to hold to this. But if they win a Big Ten regular season or Big Ten tournament championship, it will give this team, and I think it will give this fan base, not that part matters, more belief that they can go on and do something special past the first weekend.
Oh, yeah. And so no matter what happens in the Big Ten tournament, I've got pretty high hopes that Nebraska will be able to handle quite a few teams in the tournament come, next weekend, 2 weekends from
now. Let's flip it to Creighton for a minute, because obviously that has a lot more bearing on postseason play than what actually happens in the Big Ten tournament. But as much as I'd love to say the way they closed out against Butler, some of the second half runs that they were able to go on, the way it kind of feels like they've got luck on their side with the way DePaul kind of crumbled at the end of this season. I just don't think this team's got the juice to get it done in New York. I'd love to be wrong about that. I love Josh Dix. I hate the fact that we only get to see him for 1 year in a Creighton uniform. I think Nick Graves would be a lot more intriguing in year 2 in this system, but he's obviously not coming back either. It really sucks that Jackson Richardson isn't coming to Omaha because it really felt like he was kind of the piece that was missing for next season outside of a 5-man. But again, that doesn't matter compared to the Big East tournament. But I would love to see them get past Seton Hall and see what this team looks like then. With that being said, that's a really bad matchup in my opinion.
Yeah, it's kind of a danged if you do, danged if you don't little bit of thing here with we got the 5th seed, and that's really nice to see for Creighton because it shows
playing on Wednesday.
It shows that there's a lot of effort that went into, trying to get this season ended on the right foot. But unfortunately, that right foot stuck you right with probably the 4 best teams. Well, the 4 best teams in the Big East. And Seton Hall is going to be a really tough test. And then even if you look past that into the semifinal on Friday,
that's the biggest problem.
You're having to stare straight down the barrel of a gun that is going to be St. John's
in the Garden, where you've never beaten them. And obviously, if you're on the other side of the bracket, I'm not saying they should have hoped to get the 6th seed and end up being on UConn's side of the bracket, but you feel a lot better about that matchup than you do. Like the way St. John's just speeds you up, and it's just a matchup nightmare for what Creighton lacks in / has deficiencies in as well. So if you wanted to paint this picture of how Creighton finds a way to March Madness, the residual effect of what the worst case scenario is probably how they drew what they're going to see in the Garden.
Yeah. And I mean, the matchup against St. John's and the two, number 1 and number 2 in this tournament, St. John's and UConn, could not be sort of polar opposite teams in the way that they come out and try to run against each other, because St. John's is very much you are playing our basketball right now. Yeah. We will speed this game up and we will slow this game down at will, and we will choose the pace at which we play. Whereas UConn is just you really think you can hang with us for 40 minutes straight? We are the UConn Huskies, and we're going to prove to you that we shoot lights out and we know how to run these offensive sets as best as we possibly
can. Well, we're also going to guard you from the time you get off the bus to the point you get back on it, and we're going to make you feel every minute of being here too. And
yeah.
The Seton Hall matchup is just so intriguing to me because, I mean, the two games those teams have played this season, obviously really, really interesting for different reasons, but just their inability to score, their being St. John or Seton Hall's inability to score the basketball versus Creighton sometimes droughts on offense. The way that matchup will go will be really interesting or really boring, and there's not going to be anything in between. We got to give you our closing arguments to wrap up the show on a Tuesday on 1620 The Zone. We come back. If you missed this segment, check it out on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. It was brought to you by AX Plumbing. Home or residential, they can do it all. Check out axpservice.com for all your big-time plumbing needs. You got a big-time plumbing problem, but not a big-time plumbing budget, there's financing available on the website as well. Check out axpservice.com. Work with Nick and the crew. Tonight, we wrap up the show, close it down, give you our closing arguments. 1620 The Zone.
AX Plumbing has the cold weather deals. So if your hot water isn't so hot anymore, you can't afford to pass up on these deals. Tankless water heaters are $450 off. Traditional water heaters are $200 off. And for those real hard water problems, water softeners are $300 off. Stop by AXP Service tonight and fix your water heater before it gets too cold outside. AX Plumbing. We'll leave your home or your business cleaner than we found it.
Winter may slow pests down, but it's the perfect time to prepare your home for spring. Rodents, spiders, and other pests often show up indoors this time of year. A winter pest control checkup helps seal entry points now so you're not dealing with pests when warmer weather hits. At Recon Pest Services, we're proud to be a local company and supporting causes that make Omaha better. If you're looking for a pest control partner or even support for a cause, think Recon. Visit reconpestservices.com and get your home ready for a pest-free spring.
The real game changer in college athletics, it's coaches. And at Bellevue University, there is an experienced team of coaches who know you both as an athlete and as a person. Plus, there are student coach advisors who are there to provide individualized academic support every step of the way as you progress towards your degree. At Bellevue University, you're not just another athlete. You belong. We're for you and for college sports. Visit BUBruins.com.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
Howdy, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission, and time now for another Nebraska Outdoor Update. Hey, time to get out of the house. Enjoy Nebraska's many state parklands on those nice days when we get them. Grounds are open for all kinds of outdoor recreation. You just need to bring your own water, have a current state park permit, and bring along some money for those camping fees if you want to camp out. I always say, park it in a park. By the way, you can get lots of information on the Nebraska State Parks online through the Game and Parks website, outdoornebraska.gov. Question: are you venturing outdoors this time of year? Ooh, if so, file a plan with somebody that you know and trust, telling them at least where you're going, when you're due back, assemble a survival kit, carry a first aid kit, tote your smartphone to record a voicemail location, and pack an extra set of warm clothing in a trash bag or a dry bag just in case. Please be safe out there. I'm Greg Wagner.
You are listening to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
All right, everybody. First things first. You got to do things more.
Shut her down on Taste Test Tuesday here on 1620 The Zone. I'm Jimmy Allen. That's Dan Campen and Noah Houston behind the board. Tonight it is time for our closing arguments, courtesy of Bob Williams. What we'll do here is we'll all give you a hot take to wrap up the show. Post a poll on Twitter. You'll vote for the best possible closing argument. Whoever has the fewest votes will have the worst take of the night and lose the case. Dan Campen, go ahead and start us off.
I would love to. As we all know, Dan Campen, as I sit here, is a lover of women. And more important than that, I am a lover of women's sports.
Okay, I was wondering where this was going. Ladies, he's not single.
We're a sports show.
For anybody that got super excited about that, Dan is happily married.
I am indeed. And you know what else I'm happy with?
You should be a lover of women, not women.
Yeah, fair enough. I am a big fan of the fact that the UConn Huskies should probably be your number one overall seed in the women's tournament.
They good.
34-0, 20-0 in conference. You know who is the only other team that has any sort of, well, maybe it could be us? UCLA. 31-1, 18-0 in conference. That one there makes me want to say, probably should just
give the Huskies numero uno.
Let it be UConn. Let Geno Smith. Geno Auriemma.
Geno Smith, famously not a part of the UConn Huskies women's basketball team yet.
He is now closer.
Yes.
He is now closer to UConn though than he was I guess a day ago. But no, Geno Auriemma and the UConn women's team should be the number one seed in that women's tournament. I look forward to watching all of those games, as many of them as I possibly can. And
are you though?
Number one, most important thing is, do me a favor, selection committee, put UConn and UCLA on opposite sides of this bracket. I want that to be my national championship. Please.
All right, Noah, it's your time to shine. What do you got?
All right, so this is March Madness related. So the Florida Gators last year, they won it all. And then heading into this season, I'd say the first month for them was fine, but December and January, to me, I was not confident in them heading into March Madness. And in February, they ended up having 2 games where they put 100-plus points, and it happened to be against Arkansas and Mississippi State, and they're still looking to get even better. And because of that, I would not be surprised if the Florida Gators win it all once again.
My take, it's a great take. I actually like Florida a lot, and I think they're probably a perennial Final Four team. I hate that I'm going to say this out loud, but I truly feel this way. I mentioned earlier, you don't want to see St. John's, you don't want to see Gonzaga in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
How do we feel if Dan Hurley wins another ring at UConn? It feels like nobody's talking about UConn right now, right? It's like, okay, well, can they get to the championship matchup against St. John's? Are they able to win a conference tournament? Does it actually matter? Can they get caught slipping, and will that affect their run into March? This is still Dan Hurley and Alex Caravan and that group of guys that has won a ton of basketball games up at Storrs, Connecticut, and it feels like they're being slighted and have a reason to have a chip on their shoulder. There's about 5 guys in the month of March you really don't want having a chip on their shoulder. Now, with that being said, they're still the number 2 seed in the Big East tournament. They're still a top 10 team nationally. As I mentioned, they have a chance to get a number 1 seed if things go wrong in the SEC tournament / go right in the Big East championship. With that being said, doesn't it feel a lot more dangerous for UConn to be on the 2 line than it does on the 1 line?
Yeah. So just looking at Lenardi's bracketology right now, they would get Merrimack in the first round and then either Kentucky or Iowa in the second.
And both of those are a win, by the way.
Yeah. Both of those does not matter. And then if everything lines up the way that it does, the probably 2 hardest teams that they would have to play in the next round, and probably the 2 teams they'd play in the next round, are Purdue or North Carolina or a sneakily hot Miami of Ohio team.
Sneakily hot, Dan. They're the only left undefeated team in the country.
Only problem with that, though, Jimmy, is Lenardi thinks that their first round matchup is going to be North Carolina. So, yeah, I do think that UConn is very scary on the 2 line. And I think that Dan Hurley, more importantly, is scary on the 2 line because
think about this.
He's a jackwagon.
Think about this. There's a real life world where UConn could go into the tournament with their last game in the regular season being a loss at Marquette and then a loss in the Big East tournament. That would probably knock you down a line or 2. They're probably still comfortably a 2, if not the number 1 3 seed.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's one guy that you just don't need to have extra fuel to the fire heading into March, it's probably that guy and that team. And if you can have a Dan Hurley have a team even more inspired or a reason to try harder than they normally do, and have it dialed back in. There was a time this season where I didn't think UConn was going to lose a Big East game. Now, they obviously lost 3. But that team is built for what we're about to see them do in the next 3 weeks. And I almost think it's in UConn's best interest to lose the very first game of the Big East tournament. Have Dan Hurley have a reason to tell them, you're not as good as you thought you were. You've lost 2 straight. You lose 1 more. We're done for the season. Do you want to win a national championship? Do you want another banner up there? Listen to me. Let's dial in. Let's finish this thing out. And, man, for as down as the Big East was this year, you're obviously going to get 3 teams in with St. John's, Villanova, and UConn. That I think Villanova's a lot better than people give them credit for. They obviously haven't been able to get over the hump of the Big 2 and the Big East, but I think stylistically they're built for the tournament more than they are for the regular season Big East play. And I don't know if anybody's going to be surprised if we're looking at the Sweet 16. You have 3 Big East representatives in that group.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I mean, if I'm Dan Hurley at UConn right now, I'm saying I'm pretty okay with the 2 line. If it puts me in Philadelphia and I get, 1 or 2 extra days in our home building,
yeah, absolutely,
to work out and train a little bit more and to say, all right, because that Dan Hurley, one of these days,
I hate him.
One of these days, I'm going to request access to one of their practices or something and be like,
good luck with that.
Be like, I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to see what greatness looks like on you, Dan Hurley. Rub him up a little bit, give him a little bit of shine, make him think he's really safe, and just listen to how he mother F's that team all the way through a practice. because there's something that he gets out of these guys every single year that makes you go,
We got it out of Rhode Island.
why is he so good?
Hey, if you want to hear us not mother F each other for the whole show, check it out on our radio replay page at 1620thezone.com. It was brought to you by our friend Bob at Williams Law. Bob and his team will defend you or your loved ones if needed. How are they going to do that? They're going to sit you down, give you a free, no obligation legal consultation tonight. They'll explain your rights, get you ready for your big day in court, and make sure that Williams Law is the right fit for you with a free, no obligation legal consultation. Head over to WilliamsLawLLC.com tonight. For Noah Houston, Dan Campen, and I've been Jimmy Allen. Happy National Super Mario Day, everybody.
It's a me.
AX Plumbing has the cold weather deals. So if your hot water isn't so hot anymore, you can't afford to pass up on these deals. Tankless water heaters are $450 off. Traditional water heaters are $200 off. And for those real hard water problems, water softeners are $300 off. Stop by AXP Service tonight and fix your water heater before it gets too cold outside. AX Plumbing. We'll leave your home or your business cleaner than we found it.
Seal entry points now so you're not dealing with pests when warmer weather hits. At Recon Pest Services, we're proud to be a local company and supporting causes that make Omaha better. If you're looking for a pest control partner or even support for a cause, think Recon. Visit ReconPestServices.com and get your home ready for a pest-free spring.
Are you ready for the game changer of the day? Bellevue University has a new state-of-the-art 72,000 square foot field house featuring premium courts, generous fan seating, top-tier locker rooms, dedicated athletic training, and a strength and conditioning space, plus a whole lot more. It's not just a venue, it's a home court advantage. We're for you and for college sports. Visit BUBruins.com.
In school sports, it's easy to see the wins, the moments that make headlines. But there's so much work that goes unseen for any of it to happen. My name is Phil Risen, and I'm the Executive Director of the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. Throughout the country, athletic administrators dedicate countless hours to making life-changing opportunities possible for student athletes through sports. Their sacrifice is fueled by the belief that every student can grow and deserves their time to shine. On behalf of the NIAAA, we want to thank every athletic administrator for your tireless dedication to providing 7.8 million students across the country a path to a better future.
This message presented by the NIAAA, the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.